Spark Ideas are back, this time at UKLUG 2012. We started off with Theo Heselmans and his introduction and history, a little bit about computer stuff.
My biggest problem actually will be, or to restrict to my 6 minutes, or I'll be finished in 3 minutes. I have no idea. So, okay, what I want to talk about is the fact that when I was a kid, it's a history thing. When I was a kid, I was already really creative. I played with Meccano. I don't know if you know Meccano, familiar with Meccano, the iron construction things, invented in the UK, by the way.
Like Lego, but better.
Well, yeah, I didn't do Lego, but it was better. Yeah. And about 35 years ago, so you can imagine I'm a bit old, 35 years ago, I got into something called computers. A friend of mine who was 3 years older, so he was a lot older than I was, said, look, I got this thing here that's called a computer. It was a TRS-80. Somebody remember TRS-80 from Tandy? They were really nice computers, affordable. Well, not for me, I was 15, but it was affordable. And he let me play for it for a couple of days, and I didn't sleep much those 2 days. So I loved it a lot, and afterwards I had my own Apple II, then came Macintosh, then came Windows. But the most important thing is that one or the other computers allowed me to be more creative. Every time I played with a computer, I called it playing because it was so much fun, then it got me all excited. I could do things with it that were not possible. I saw at the fairs and at the arcades, I saw a game called Breakout, an old game, just a game after Pong, and I recreated it because I loved it so much I said I want to do it myself. So what I'm going to talk about is, in fact, a sort of history about all the things that got me excited in a nerd way, got me excited about doing new stuff. And it started in the 70s when I learned BASIC, like a lot of people did at the time. I started with BASIC. I liked BASIC, but it wasn't ideal. Then I started discovering something called Fort. Not Fortran, Fort, F-O-R-T-H. Check it out, it was really, really cool development environment. It fitted into a 4K ROM, and it was really powerful. I just loved it. And that came structured BASIC. And finally, I got rid of those go-tos, and I could finally make some decent nested if-then-elses. I had controls, I had subroutines. It was heaven. I was so thrilled about the fact that I could finally build nice stuff. Thanks, Paul. And of course, in school I had the obligatory Fortran and COBOL, but I didn't like those. Structured BASIC, that was the thing for me at the time. And then all of a sudden, PC started to, how can I say, grow up a little bit, and applications started to appear. And one of the first applications that appeared, and that was also capable of being worked in a network. You really had networks at those times. Very small, tiny networks, 5, 6, 7 PCs at the same time, or Macintoshes. And one of the applications that was built for it was Omnis. I don't know whether somebody knows Omnis. It was a programmable database, one of the first programmable databases that you could use. A UK thing as well, actually. And it was from Blight, and it was really cool because you could develop databases multiple people could use. Before that, you only were restricted to your own tiny PC. You could work on your PC, but you couldn't share the information with somebody else because it didn't exist yet. So Omnis came, and then 4th Dimension came. It was a lot better than Omnis. You could do a lot more with Omnis, with 4th Dimension. So I loved 4th Dimension. So every time there were some new things I got excited for, I worked with it, and all of the things I mentioned here is because of the fact that I created applications with it that people love to use. So I didn't do it for myself, I created applications, and if people told me 10 years afterwards, I'm still working with an application, I was thrilled. I mean, it means I did something right before. During that time, there was also the obligatory RDBMS Oracle, and then, what was it, the RDB, and then whatever. But then came HyperCard. I don't know if everyone remember HyperCard. It's a tool from Apple, and unfortunately they stopped with it. But HyperCard was so cool because it allowed everybody, even if you were not a developer, to create things. You could just put a button there. You could say to the button, beep 5 times, and it would beep 5 times when I clicked on it. It was really, really cool environment. Unfortunately, they stopped with it, but I got a nice solution for it. In the 90s, so we're moving on already, 20 years later, in the 90s, Excel came along. Well, Excel existed a little bit before that as Multiplan and then Excel, but in the 90s, Excel version 5 had pivot tables. And I loved pivot tables because it allowed me finally to have power with numbers. I could do something with it. All right, then Microsoft Access came along. I built a lot of applications with Access. I didn't like it really much. FileMaker Pro, same thing, very nice. You could do a lot with it. Not really good. The Newton came. I love this device. I programmed applications for it, professional applications that people use in real time for a couple of years. Because Apple stopped with Newton. But it was really cool. Wonderful device. Way ahead of its time. Way ahead. It still, well, if it's loaded, it's not charged. But it can still do things they can't do with an iPad right now. And then came Notes 3. Everybody remember those Notes 3? Version 3? Yeah? I hated it. I really did. But what it did really good was the fact that it allowed me to have distributed data. You had a lot of people working all over the place, and they could all share the same data and work with it even without being connected. And that was new. But developing for Notes 3 really sucked. Luckily, Notes 4 came along, and Notes 4 was a huge step forward from a point of view from a developer. It was so lovely. So I still like Notes because that's the reason why, well, the first release when Lotus Strip was in there. And that gave so many opportunities to a developer. You could build so many stuff. I gotta watch my time, so because it's almost time. Then in the new millennium, Lotus Notes 5, 6, and 7 came along. Upgrades. Then there was the internet, HTML, JavaScript, CSS, all wonderful stuff. You really can dig into it, and if you start playing with it, you can do amazing things with it, especially now with HTML5. So I'm wrapping up now. At this moment, Notes 8 with X Pages. If you're into X Pages, wonderful. It is really exciting technology. I didn't get into it. I started with it. Didn't really get excited for it. Don't know why. It's me. A lot of people really get excited about X Pages. The iPad came along. My conclusion is that you can build some wonderful stuff for mobile devices, and my conclusion is that don't stop wondering, learn new things, make decisions, go to work happy, be passionate, be creative, and share your excitement. Thank you.